The visiting Egyptian opera star Ashraf Sawalem surely is a man of many parts. The bass baritone is here to sing in the role of the assassin in the latest New Zealand Opera Company production of Rigoletto. He's also known throughout the Arab world as the voice of Mickey Mouse and other Disney cartoon characters. He was heavily involved in the Spring Uprising in Cairo, and last month, here in New Zealand, he also managed to be the first person anywhere in the world to cast a vote in the current Egyptian elections. So there's plenty to talk about when Ashraf Sawalem meets Selwyn Manning.
Welcome to the program, Ashraf.
Welcome, Selwyn.
In preparation for this interview, I was thinking, where can I start? You know, look down the list here. You're an opera singer. You're the voice of Mickey Mouse in Arabic.
Yeah.
You're an academic.
Yes.
A political activist in the Arab Spring. And I was kind of thinking, which way do we go in this? You know, where do we go first? And I thought, let's take us back to what was developing in Egypt a couple of years ago, which made you want to get involved with this this Arab Spring protest.
Well, my generation basically has resigned to complete apathy about the politics in Egypt and any hope for changing the regime. And I had moved out to the United States and studied there and started an international career, even though I was reasonably successful in Egypt. And we were completely taken by surprise. Last time I was in Egypt in January 2011, I was performing the Magic Flute in Egyptian translation at the Alexandria Library. And we felt it in the air a little bit. Not that there was a revolution coming, but there was a level of desperation that we haven't seen before.
And that's from the people themselves?
Yes.
Was there a response from the authorities at that stage as well?
The authorities had, the power, I think, of the last parliament had completely gone to their heads, and they were getting away with murder, literally, and so much corruption that they forgot to keep, themselves checked.
Yes, yeah.
And once that happens, and once the general public have nothing to lose, it's the recipe for people to revolt.
So you're a performer. You come from the
Yes.
arts. Culture is a big part of your background and your interest and your DNA, if you like. How did you get involved with this activism?
I'm not actually special. Everybody got involved. I've been back to Egypt 4 times since the revolution. I didn't attend the first 18 days on Tahrir Square, but I became heavily involved in the activism in New York. So I was in all the demonstrations at the UN and the Egyptian consulate, and the biggest one, of course, was at Times Square, where I sang, the national anthem. I became sort of the de facto national anthem singer.
Yeah, tell us about that. What was the reaction in New York from the people, from the city itself, and from the political kind of apparatus as well?
Everybody was so supportive. The revolution actually has inspired so many anti-establishment demonstrations in America, anti-Republicans and anti-corporates. There was a big thing in Minnesota about unions, teachers' unions and teachers' rights. So, I mean, everybody was saying, let's do like the Egyptians. Same happened in Spain. So even though Arab Spring started in Tunisia, the inertia of the Egyptian revolution is the one that really pushed everything through and inspired many places in the world.
So you see a connection between what we're witnessing in the North African area and the Middle East, where people are wanting to get involved with change and progressing their cultures and their societies. You're seeing a correlation between that and the established, power like the United States as well.
Yes, absolutely. And we had Occupy Wall Street, of course, which until today is going on. It was moved to Union Square in New York, and it was a damn nuisance for the corporations. But people, we still have so much to lose in America. We still have quite a bit of real freedom and prosperity, not like the Middle East where people have lost everything. But very quickly over the 8 years of George W. Bush, the education was eviscerated, the middle class was heavily undermined. So more and more people are waking up to that. And and corporations don't want that.
So if we see the advent of change in Egypt, what kind of change can you actually pick up, perhaps, as a momentum inside the United States?
The change is going to come as long as you sort of keep pushing for it. People belittle the fact that, you have a couple of hundred hanging out in Union Square, and, those hippie loonies, idealistic, and no, it actually sort of puts it in the face of the world that change needs to be talked about and needs to be initiated. And President Obama has been working very hard on that, but, the Bush administration had dug us so deep into a ditch and took the whole world along with it, not only just America, that we're digging ourselves out very slowly, but we're not anywhere near the rim, if you will.
And if we go back to Egypt, from what you could see back then, did you ever believe that the uprising would actually lead to a more open and democratic process in Egypt?
It's not as open as it should be. It's very much like right now. It's a hoarder, a house that is full of trash, and now the time to clean up, it looks much worse than having all that trash compacted in and the door closed on it. You weren't aware of it. Now when you open the door, it's going to look messy for a while, until you clean up. Right now we have the mess just strewn all over the place, trying to sort through what to keep and what to throw away. And of course every political and ideological power is trying to jump on the revolution and get hold of power. And of course we had the first round of presidential elections with 13 candidates, and I was very proud to have been the first in the world to vote.
Because you're in New Zealand at the time.
Because I'm in New Zealand, and I was the first one in the embassy. At the time I was in Wellington. I was the first ballot in the box, and I made a huge, celebration about it.
How did you celebrate it?
I just tweeted. I was crying actually so hard at the poignancy and the significance of the moment, that it's the first time in my life, and I'm in my early 40s, that my vote is going to count. I've never voted before, except for the parliament, of course, a couple of months before that. And it was and to be the first one to do that, to vote in an election where we don't know.
That's something to sing about.
Beforehand, yeah, exactly. Beforehand, who's going to win? Yes. Of course, the surprise was disastrous. Who actually won the top two slots where we're going to do the runoffs, because the most radical representative of the Muslim Brotherhood and the worst representative of the old regime, the old guard, he was actually the secular candidate. Was nothing but secular. I mean, his military establishment through and through. He was Mubarak's last prime minister, who presided over the killing and the shooting of the revolutionaries in Tahrir Square in early February.
Okay, if we take that then, this current situation, if you look out 1 year, 2 years, what do you expect to see and what do you hope to see in Egypt?
What I'm hoping to see is that the liberal forces learn from that lesson, because you look everywhere in the world, liberals rarely get to power because, by definition, we are divided. We uphold and embrace the pluralism and diversity of opinion. So, we only get to power as a reaction to the blunders committed by conservatives. But hopefully the liberals in Egypt will learn from the lesson, and they will all coalesce around one party, and then they would have a voice in the next election, 4 or 5 years from now.
See, of course, since the Arab Spring became an event that the world was looking at, we've seen the Gaddafi Libya regime fall. We've seen unrest in Tunisia.
Yes.
We've seen in Bahrain, and of course in Yemen.
Yes.
The North African states seem to all be responding to this, and we're seeing obviously the atrocities up in Syria at the moment.
Yeah.
Once again, if you were looking out a year, what do you see there? Do you think the aspirations of the rising of the people's want is going to be satisfied? Or?
It's going to be different depending on the region. I mean, depending on the country and the makeup of the country. For example, actually, a nice light at the end of the tunnel is looming for Algiers, because Algiers had, this whole bloodbath to cleanse Islamists out of politics. And very much like most repressed regimes where the majority is illiterate or ill-educated and poor, most people run to sort of religion as a political refuge, and they vote for Islamists, not knowing that they're voting against their own interest. And what happened in Algiers, if you remember, I don't know if it's about a decade ago or so. The Islamists won by a landslide, and then the military
In
had a coup
1991,
and annulled the
yes.
whole thing, and then Algiers just plunged into this
Yes.
bloodbath. And now they're having actually a good, balanced, secular parliament with a lot of women in it. And I'm hoping that all of us look at Algiers and realize that we shouldn't repeat that mistake by voting for religious dogma and bringing it into politics, because it's just, you can never take it out except, with losing a lot of lives. Saudi Arabia is run by religion, Iran is run by religion or political religion, and they're really not happy places to be part of.
And of course, you're here in New Zealand to perform in Rigoletto.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's coming up in Auckland at the ASB Theatre on Thursday evening.
Yes.
The first performance in Auckland. Tell me a bit about your character, this assassin.
Well, Rigoletto as a production, actually, by the direction by Lindy Hume is very very significant to what's been going to it, in the hallways of power, because it's a story about getting away with murder. It's a story about getting away with corruption. The story has been updated to the Berlusconi ministry, and you'll see that, and it's an amazing set with the halls of power, the big gilded doors and palace sort of flying out and hovering over what's happening to all the have-nots. So you have all the haves and all the have-nots with the power hovering over them and manipulating their lives. I'm a hired assassin. I'm one of the have-nots, but I'm an assassin with a conscience.
Yeah.
So
there's a complex layer.
It's a huge conflict, because I use my sister, who is a prostitute, to lure the people I'm supposed to kill into my bar. In this particular context, it's usually an inn or something, and I kill them. Except
what's the method of murder? Was that giving something away?
We'll keep. We have a pistol and we have a knife, and I'll keep it.
Keep it open there.
I'll keep it open for the audience to come.
I understand it was a success in Wellington, so Aucklanders can.
Oh, we had full houses all 4 nights, and actually the Auckland performance in Aotea Centre is going to be the first show in the space after the renovations.
Okay.
So apparently we have a much friendlier space for singing, because of course we sing without microphones.
So the acoustics are better.
Yes, the acoustics are much better, and it's been renovated, so it's going to be a beautiful space to perform in for both us, the performers, and the audience. And we're looking forward to it.
Okay, so are you able to give a bit of a demonstration of this bass baritone that you'll be bringing to the stage?
There's very little in my role that is extractable.
Yes.
So I'm probably going to sing something from Old Man River, Old Man River from Showboat, just a couple of phrases.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashraf.
Thank you for having me.
Old Man River, that old man river, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, but them that plant 'em are soon forgotten. But Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Selwyn Manning was talking to Ashraf Sawalem, currently starring in the latest New Zealand Opera Company production of Rigoletto. And that's it. Thanks for your company. There's more to come same time next week on The Beatson Interview. Till then, go safely and bye for now.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.